What's up, everybody? If you're just joining, covering a quick workout slash instructional video with the dummy, Suples Dummy, and teaching some top drills that you can do. So this thing is pretty versatile. Not only can you do high C's, doubles, singles, you can do ankle picks, you can do low singles, you can do sweeps. There's a lot of things you can do with throws, but you can do top drills in Folkstyle. So I played around with this thing, came up with a bunch of different things that I could share. It just expands the ability to teach with this. So I'm hoping to develop more stuff with the dummy. Who knows what's going to happen in the upcoming weeks with COVID. We may be shut down. Let me know where you guys are, how you guys are doing. If you need a dummy, if you need more type of drills like this. My Sunday class has a lot of different viewers. That Sunday video gets over 3,000 views every Sunday. So give me a shout out, let me know what you guys need. Otherwise, I'm gonna roll through here and do a lot of teaching, give you a lot of drills, and combine it with a specific workout. So appreciate you guys watching. So I'm going to do a block and spin drill with the dummy. Now I'm going to prop it up a little bit with a couple pillows to give it some height. Otherwise, you guys can do what you need to do with it. This gives it a little bit more height. So I can come out. I'm going to start on the triceps, pinch my elbows in like this. And all I'm going to do is go around the back, starting here, off my knees, pinching here, burying the head's right there in my sternum. All right, and I'm not getting too far up here because the spin is all about your pressure with your toes, your hips, and your chest. It's not about spinning as fast as you can. So once I'm here, I'm just going to block the side I'm going to, from my feet, get around, get all the way on top, come back up front, block, turn around, back up front, block, turn around, come back up front, block, turn around, come back up front. So ideally, I'd like you guys to get this thing some more height. Ideally, you guys should be getting, this is still warming up, 4 20-second goes with some drills in between. I'll do some shorter goes here to give you an idea of what I'm looking for in a warm-up. It's not just about drilling for perfection. It's just, oftentimes it's just about drilling and getting those skill work in. All right, it's not always about spending 20 minutes on this. Like, that's a whole nother day. This is just continuous repetition, continuity of training. Throw this in there 3 or 4 times a week in your warm-ups. All right, so I'm gonna go like 10 seconds, and then I'm gonna throw another drill in there for you guys so you can see how this is structured. And it's not just monotonous. Tell your athletes to go do 10 minutes of spinning around like that, which serves its purpose, but to me this gives it a little bit more dynamic feel to it. All right. I'm going to do back handsprings. So if this was a partner, it'd be here. And I go 10 of those each partner before you switch back to that spin drill. So I'm going to go again. This will be 10 seconds again, approximately. You guys can see I got my Adams machine back up. It's not installed yet, but hoping to get it up there on the wall, on that back wall. Block, spin, block, right feet, back, block, right feet, back. Excellent. It's going to be front handspring over the back, come back to the front. Go again, lock and spin again. You can add layers to that drill, but primarily I like to stick with just blocking and spinning, getting around. You can have them dragging the arm. You can have them start attacking the back thigh and chasing. There's a lot of different things you can do from there, but for simplicity, especially if you have a diverse group of skill, I'm always just sticking to the block and spin because everybody needs work there. Everybody from every level. All right, but again, the big thing, head buried right in my sternum, elbows pinched, hands wrapped in the armpits, deep in the armpits, right? Off my toes. Off my knees. And then I'm blocking that arm, running the corner, all the way around. Hop over. Got one more. Whew. Sit-ups. Good. So that's still part of that warm-up, just a block of blocking and spinning, adding some calisthenics in there. All right. Keeping it dynamic, working on our skills, and getting prepared for the next thing, which is top. So we run the corner, we block and spin, we score our 2, we're getting right to work on top. It's never just go around and wait for him to get out, right? It's going to work, scoring points. So the next 5 minutes, we're gonna do some tilting, right? So we're gonna have 2-on-1, already starting on top. Gonna have a 2-on-1 or a cross wrist, all right? Cross wrist in the bicep. So either one you choose to do. I'd probably go cross wrist in the bicep and pulling everything in tight. My elbows are tight. This elbow is really important because if I'm going to drive over this shoulder, I need to take the hip with me. All right, so part of it, and this is a good drill on the dummy, because it forces you to actually use the technique. All right, so got the cross wrist, my right elbow is going to be right at the hip pocket, my left elbow and hand on the bicep, and then pinching my elbow in, so everything's really tight. All right, I'll initially start with my head on top of the back, but ultimately I want my shoulder on top, just like a gut wrench. I want my shoulder on top, right there, because I want to drive in a diagonal direction. So this is generally if you're in a base position, but obviously the dummy's flat, so I really have to do a good job punching my knee in, my left knee in, catching the hip, pulling my elbow through, driving it up across the shoulder, and running my feet so he sits right into that hip pocket. So it's here, shoulder pressure, right here. Bottom leg up, everything's pinched tight. He's in the hip pocket, I'm using my right foot to elevate, and everything's tight. So I'll go different angle, let's see. Again, cross wrist, left hand on the elbow, on the bicep, right? And I'm starting really tight on top, shoulder pressure, right elbow pulls the hip through, driving across this way. So again, I gotta get when I'm ready, I'm gonna run my feet. I might even back step here, but you can do a big punch and then back step. Punch your bottom knee, back step. Punch your bottom knee, your left foot, and then back step right. Punch, back end comes up, sit him in the hip pocket, right here. Get your count, 5 count, and then roll down, and we're going to work on something else. So that's something you can really start drilling with a dummy if you don't have a partner. Alright, so you don't ever want to neglect your top position, especially if you're in a habit, if you're really good on your feet. You want to transition into that stuff, and I'll get to that stuff, because the transition, it's not about taking somebody down, let them go flat and let them come up and then start going to work. It's transitioning to those turns from the takedown, just like we would in freestyle or Greco. So that's a tilt drill. I'm gonna do let me see, this is a claw tilt. Alright, so claw, almost the same thing, except this time I'm gonna have my tight waist on the side that I'm going to. Alright, so if I'm gonna have my claw, the claw just means it's under the armpit, my shoulder's buried really far underneath, right here, and I got the back of the neck, and then I have a tight waist right here. Now, I don't want to go this way. I don't want to go the direction that I have the claw. I want to go away from the claw, because that's my pulling power. So once I'm here, all right, get that arm up there. So once I'm here, I got my position, my tight waist, got my claw. All right, I'm gonna punch my opposite knee in. All right, and it's not just about pulling him this way, like this, because most times they're gonna either hop their hips out, and now you're in really big trouble, or if you even have them in the hip pocket right here, they can just roll through. So the big thing on the claw is switching their hips all the way through. So watch what I do. I'm gonna redirect them with my feet, and I'm gonna redirect them with the claw. All right, so when I punch my left knee to this left hip, I'm here. Now instead of him being with his head on my left side, I'm gonna rotate him. Head on the right side, falls in the hip pocket. All right, and if you can, you wanna try and catch this wrist. All right, you can always change off from your claw to your half. Start sinking. So there's a lot of transitions there that you can do with this thing. But for fundamental purposes, you wanna turn the angle here. You wanna punch your knee in and switch their hips as you go through. Again, and try and catch that wrist. Tight waist, claw. I punch my left knee. I start driving. And with this, it's hard. I can't drive forward. Really, I can, I guess. I can drive forward. But in the process of getting to here, I want his head on the right side. So I'm going to switch his hips and elevate with my bottom leg. Boom. Catch the wrist. Change off to the half if you need to. So those two, I'd say those two, cross wrist tilt, claw tilt, both very similar. You gotta get your feet driving. You gotta sit them in the hip pocket. All right, and everything has to be really tight, especially the claw. The biggest mistake athletes make is they put their hand underneath in the back of their neck, but their shoulder is out, because you need your shoulder all the way underneath their armpit. And this particular technique works really well for long, lanky athletes, and sometimes they'll be able to just slap the claw on, but they don't get their shoulder all the way under, and it hurts their technique as they move up, because athletes get really, really good at knowing where their hips are going to go, and they find a way out. All right, so that's those two. All right, I'm going to move on and go to wrist in half. Basic stuff. Basic stuff. But if you're not drilling it, obviously you might need a refresher. So wrist in half. I like wrist in halves over tilts. I like arm bars, halves. I like crab rides. But with a dummy, it's gonna be tough to get the far wrist to get all the way under there, because his arm doesn't really bend. So I can start here and then try and get here. But if you have trouble, just scoop the opposite side. Like, you just need to take this post away. Like, if you don't have anything, and I try and start going on this side, driving them over, you're just gonna post that arm out. So the big thing here is just taking this away. And sometimes, especially if they're flat right here, sometimes I'll start attacking this side. Grabbing the fingers, grabbing the wrist with two hands here, and start getting them to like start fighting me over here. So what that does is, number one, I could try and pull it in and then scoop it underneath right here to get the wrist. Now I get the wrist and I start working on my half on the other side. But you can't get it, right? Like I like playing a lot on one side to set up my other side. So if I can't get anything there, sometimes it's just about being right here. This is gonna block out that side. Like, it literally, especially if I'm trying to drive over that side with a half, just this underhook right here starts blocking that arm out, because they're not as mobile right here, especially if you have your hand down, you palm down, and you start knocking that arm out, that elbow out. All right, so it's all about that elbow and that hand. All right, so if you get the wrist, great. If not, no, the half. I like to be on the top of the head, and the big thing for me is just getting that elbow up, cranking the elbow up, and I'm gonna try and take my opponent forward here. All right, I'm not trying to drive straight across like this. I want to take them forward up. All right, especially if this is gone, this post is gone. I try and take them up. You see what's happening there? When I push up with my elbow, it's not me trying to drive straight across. I'm pushing up in my chest. See my chest? I got a 90. Now once they're there, now I want to readjust. Like, I don't want to, this seems like it's a good position to go for the kill right here. And this is why I love covering this, because there's little fine points in here. But this isn't it. I don't want to start driving straight through because I'm not tight. When I'm tight is when my shoulder's all the way into the armpit. So I'm going to let go of that arm. When when I can sink right here. Now it's tight. Once I'm here, I'm pushing with my chest. I get that head wrapped up, and a lot of times, and I'll still have that wrist. Most times, I want to lift the head up into this hip pocket right here, and now I want to settle them because I'm pinching that head, pinching that, torquing that neck and the head. Now I'm trying to start turning him. I don't want to go straight down. If I go straight down, he can roll through, right? There's a lot of funky stuff. I want to take my time. I want to go give him a little bit of pain here. Take my time, and I'm going to rotate him. Boom. And now I got him. All right. So that wrist in half, really critical, especially for your new guys that get it and they get so anxious to go for the kill, the pin, that they just run the guy over. Next thing you know, they're on their back. Like I see it even happen with top guys. It's really good wrestlers. They get really anxious there. That's a position you want to take your time. Trust your strength, trust your technique, because it's going to beat anybody on bottom that's starting to get squirrely. They're getting more anxious than you. Trust me, because they're on their stomach, and they know they're about to go over to their back. So again, wrist, got the wrist, got the half. Again, hand on the top of the head. I want to go elbow to elbow here. You notice I'm out to the side right here. Now, if you need some space, especially if they're flat and they're not doing anything and you can't get anything, I'll take my inside knee, my right knee, and I'll load them up here. See that? I loaded them up on my hip. Now I can readjust, and now I got a 90. Now I can sink. Watch my hips. Boom. I sunk back. Sunk back. My shoulder's not underneath yet, so I gotta sink. Shoulders at the armpit. Now I can lift them again up to my hip pocket. Now it's a slow dying death from here. I don't want to go straight down. I want to start rotating. I want to start trying to go counterclockwise here. This way. Start rotating. Rotate. Boom. And that head is all the way up here. There's no space. All right. So that is your wrist in half. Bar in half, very similar. Spend about 2 minutes here on that. So bar in half, very similar. The principle's the same. Getting them 90 to here, and once they're 90, I want to start driving towards their head. I don't want to push them this way. I want to drive them forward. I'm going to stick the shoulder right to the ear. So if somebody was doing this to me, I want the opponent should be trying to get me to 90, number one, right here, and then sticking my shoulder right here. Because once my shoulder goes in my ear like this, I'm done. Like you can see, I'm 90. Once my shoulder goes to my ear, look at my back. My back is, it's already exposed. And now they just gotta sit their hips down, flatten their hips down. All right, so I'll go with the dummy here. So I'm gonna go start with the bar. This is gonna be tricky with the dummy, but it can be done. Start with the bar. Start with the wrist. Got the wrist, got the bar. Now I'm gonna drive to the 90. Once they're 90, back here. And again, you can do the same thing. Like you can load them up on your hip here. It's trying to muscle them over. But this one, I want to get them 90. And then I want to drive that shoulder up and then settle. Now if you lose the arm, like I can take it, if I lose it, get two hands on it, use my chest, settle, scoop up that head to a half. A lot of good stuff from top. And you gotta be mindful of really transitioning. I'd say the transition is super important. At the high school level, that's what makes people so successful, and it's not a huge difference in like the average wrestler to the best wrestler, believe it or not. It's all about mindset. The average wrestler will get a takedown, a really good takedown, and then they'll stop. They'll let the opponent on the bottom just lay there, let them come up, and then they'll start working. The really top elite wrestler in high school and college, and you go on to the world level, they're taking their takedown and transitioning it into a turn. Especially freestyle, the Olympic styles, freestyle and Greco, they're taking their takedowns and they're seamless right into a turn. And the next thing you know, it's 8-10-0, match over in freestyle and Greco. So I'm gonna get a drink, and then I'm gonna go to some takedowns right to the turn so you guys can sort of see what's going on. I'm gonna actually throw in 2 new transitions from the takedown. Be right back. Alright, so the easiest transition is that 2-on-1 tilt, because when you start to go around the body, you build up a lot of momentum. So you can develop this even when you're standing, even when you don't even have that takedown. You can develop a transition right to that tilt when you're standing, still standing up. So the scenario is this. Get a takedown, maybe we'll get to a high C, outside leg high C, and as I start to go around, they stay up, but I get my tight waist, I transfer that hand that was on the leg to the tight waist, and I come immediately up to that bicep, and I'm catching that wrist, the cross wrist. So now, when they realize they're in trouble, I can do one of 2 things, actually 3 things. I can continue, especially if they don't know what's going on. Since my momentum is going this way, I can continue and going all the way around, punch my knee in, boom, drop right down to that tilt. I can change them over if I need to. The other thing I can do here is go the other way. So if I get to the leg, I can capture that tight waist. I can't go this way, maybe he's blocking me out. So I'll take him back this way. And you notice I changed the head. Instead of putting it over here, put it over here. So a lot of this has to do with you steering them. Alright? And then the last one from there on that tilt. And this one you gotta be careful. High school especially. Get to that takedown. Boom. I get around, I can't get either side, maybe he's blocking me out, but I got the wrist and the bicep, right? I'm gonna basically do almost a crab ride. I wanna take my feet to the inside of his legs, jump, and pull them straight back into my hip pocket, and then redirect their head so it's gonna look like this. This is gonna hurt because he's gonna fall. So everything's tight again. I'm gonna chip up. Put them in that hip pocket. Again, bottom leg up, pinching everything tight. Get your swipes. Let them belly down. So that's takedown to that tilt. Now obviously, if they go flat, go right to that tilt right away. You notice there's no delay. There's zero delay. It's transitioning right to the turn. So that's transition number one. Transition number two. You can also go to claw. You can go to your crab ride from there. There's a lot you can do. You just gotta get the basic principles down. The next one is a bottom leg Turk basic. This is the one that's gonna be there most times on a double leg. I get hit to that leg, I run them down. Now if they don't give up the takedown right away, when they split their legs, I'm gonna step through with the top leg. Right? My left leg's gonna step through. And then I wanna crowd them with my chest. And obviously the dummy can't belly down. I wanna be low. Now I wanna get Jacobs or crossface and start elevating that back leg. All right. So that's the bottom leg Turk. Generally it's gonna come off the double. When you hit your double and they go this and they're pushing on their head, their bottom leg's there, hook it, get above their knee, and then start crowding them, because my job here is start to get my chest down and crawl forward. Their job, if they have the Turk, is to keep crowding. Their legs hooked above my knee. All right, and then once, because the bottom's gonna run out of gas, they can't defend that too long. Once they run out of some gas and you've got a little less resistance, you start looking for some turns. I'm gonna do two more and then I'm gonna cut it off. I'm gonna go single leg. This is a natural transition from a single leg. I'm gonna go single leg here. Now when I cut, whatever finish it is, you always want to try and take them to their back. So if it's a single and you get the leg up in the air, they take them to the back. Now from here, I'm gonna get tight and I want to take my left hand and scoop the legs. This is a Navy ride. And again, I want to be above the knees. I'm elevate my left leg so he's up on my hips. I'm not on my heels. I'm not down here. I'm up. And again, I'm crowding. I'm coasting. I'm crowding, looking for back points. If they roll this way, right, I get a low leg cradle. I can release. I can just scoop the bottom leg. Get a low leg cradle. If they go the other way, they go this way, right, I can step through here. And now start looking for the front side. Jacobs again, cross face. So you got a leg in, you got a boot in there. So you got a lot of options when you're transitioning. Now, some athletes, some wrestlers, folk style wrestlers will find their transitions. And if they're not there, they're going to work on something else. Like, they're not giving the bottom any chance to breathe, because all it takes is them to get their hips this far away and they're out. And then you lose your opportunity. So that has to be your mentality on top, is just not give an inch. Don't let the bottom breathe. Just keep your pressure with your hips, your chest. You're off your knees, you're on your toes, and you're making that bottom person work really hard to really just stay in good position. Otherwise they're going to get turned. So that really has to be your mentality on top. And I don't want to hear that you don't like top, that you're better on your feet, that you don't know anything on top, because I just showed you about 6 things that are really fundamental and basic that all work to the highest level. So these are really basic things that you have to pick up, put in your pocket, and pull them out whenever you need them. So you never know. If you guys have any questions about the stuff I showed, Other things you can do with this, let me know. Again, I don't know what's going to happen. I hear we're going on lockdown again in Virginia here. I'm in Virginia, Northern Virginia. They're reducing the crowd size again. I think it was 250 and now it's back down to 25. So a lot of things are starting to change again. And to be honest, I don't want to be pessimistic, but it doesn't sound good like we're going to be able to sustain that 25 person limit too long. So I hope we don't. I hope we can just go back to normal soon and get in person and start really getting after all these things that I've been doing virtually, because lots of good things are being shared, and I want you guys to acquire that knowledge, take it, use it, apply it, and then go out in competition and win. So appreciate you guys watching. That's about it for now. Again, drop me a line if you have any questions, and I'll catch you guys really soon.